Hello friends, I'm Janice. Welcome back to my channel. Today is a knit with me video and we're going to knit the Tender Leaves cardigan. It is officially spring here in Toronto, but for myself, I like to be more cozy than breezy, so I will be knitting a cardigan for today. There's a lot of yarn overs, increases and decreases in this cardigan, so it will be a very interesting pattern to follow. And for myself, I'm into more loose fitting and oversized feel of a cardigan, so I'll be knitting the large size. They were suggesting to use 2 strands of mohair to knit this cardigan. Since the mohair I'm working with today is a little bit more chunkier than other mohair, so I will be working with 1 strand to keep the lightweight and flowy texture. I will be working with Drops Brushed Alpaca Silk in color 35. It's an alpaca and silk yarn that looks like kid mohair. It's very light and fluffy. To start the sleeve of the cardigan, I will be using 3mm needles. I will be using the stretchy cast on. First, you do a slip knot. Then insert the needle into the stitch and do a knit stitch. When you pull out your needle, insert the other needle to the loop you just created. For the second stitch, you insert your needle in between the 2 stitches. Yarn over, insert the other left needle while pulling out the right needle. You then continue until you reach the number of stitches needed. For large size, I cast it on 54 stitches. I made a little mistake here. I should have been casting on my straight needles instead of my circular needles, since my circular needles are a bit too long for 54 stitches, and I didn't want to use the magic loop method. For the first row, I am doing yarn over and then a purlwise slip stitch. Knit 1 until I reach the stitch marker. For the second row, I am doing purl 1, put the yarn behind the needle, and do a knit-wise slip stitch until I reach the stitch marker. For the third row, I'm doing purl 1, knit 1 until the end of the row. After knitting the first 3 rows, we will switch the size of the needles. It is recommended to use 5mm in the pattern, but I want to make it a little bigger, so I am using 5.5mm. For rows 4 to 13, we will be doing purl 1, slip 1 yarn over for the even number rows, and purl 1, knit 1 for the odd number rows. For row 14, knit stitch for the whole row. We will then do increases on row 15. For size large, repeat knit 6, make 1 left, until you reach the end of the row. You will have 63 stitches at the end. Row 16 is where we start our pattern. For rows 16 to 36, 58 to 78, we will be working on pattern on the left side. I would recommend adding a stitch marker every 21 stitches. For each row, we will repeat these 21 stitches for 3 times. Then, for row 37 to 57, 79 to 99, we will be working on the pattern on the right side. Once we've reached row 99, leave around 20 centimeters of the yarn, cut it off, and leave it aside. Then repeat the same for the other side of the sleeve. For the body, we will do the ribbing the same way as we did for the sleeves row 1 to 13, but with 225 stitches. Here's a recap for row 1 to 13. For row 14, which is the wrong side of the cardigan, we will be separating stitches for the band. 7 stitches at each of the beginning and end of the row. Slip 1, wrap yarn in front. Slip 1, wrap yarn in front. Knit 1. Slip 1, yarn over. Knit 1. Slip 1, yarn over. Knit 1. Add stitch marker. Continue with the pattern here. Continue purling and adding a stitch marker for every 21 stitches until you reach the last 7 stitches. For the band, here's the pattern for right-sided rows. And here's the pattern for wrong-sided rows. And here are the rows that we need to create the hole buttons. Once you've reached row 74, it is time to combine the sleeves to the body of the sweater. On row 75, I will follow row 2 of this pattern. I've knitted the band and 2 sections of the sweater. In total, 49 stitches. Then, I will move the next 21 stitches to a piece of scrap yarn to rest. Next, I will take out the sleeve and knit 42 stitches of the sleeve to the piece I'm working on. The remaining 21 stitches on the sleeve will be left on a piece of scrap yarn. Then I will continue knitting 84 stitches. After that, put the next 21 stitches on a piece of scrap yarn. Then take out the other sleeve and knit 42 stitches of the sleeve. Then place the remaining 21 stitches on a piece of scrap yarn. Lastly, continue knitting the remaining 42 stitches of the body and 7 stitches of the band. By the end of row 75, you will have 266 stitches on your needle. For rows 76 to 90, we will continue to follow this pattern. Remember to leave a buttonhole on row 89. Then for rows 91 to 120, we will knit this pattern here. This pattern will be doing decreasing on each row, so that our sweater can fit our shoulders and neckline. Remember to leave a buttonhole on row 109. Finally, for the neckline, we will remove all the stitch markers. On row 121, continue with the 7 stitches of the band, then do a SSK decrease. Repeat purl 1, knit 1 till the band, then continue with the 7 stitches of the band. On row 121, you will have 85 stitches on your needle. For the cuff of the sweater, we will do 10 rows of ribbing. Remember to leave a buttonhole on the 8th row of the ribbing. To finish, we will switch back to 3mm needles. Slip 1, wrap yarn in front, slip 1, wrap yarn in front, repeat knit 1, slip 1, wrap yarn in front, till you reach the last stitch, then knit 1. The last row, slip 1, wrap yarn in front, repeat knit 1, slip 1, wrap yarn in front, until you reach the last 2 stitches, then knit 2. Bind off and tuck off all of the loose ends and you're done. I am really happy with how it turned out. It's very flowy and soft. It fits great for the spring and early summer. This is a really fun pattern that keeps you awake because there's a lot of increases and decreases, and I've learned how to do an SSP stitch. It's my first time doing the SSP stitch, and thanks to the knitting community, I've learned how to do it in seconds. The second thing I've learned is to buy more than enough yarn. I always underestimate the amount of yarn that I use and often had to go back to the yarn store and buy more. This delays the process of the project and just doesn't feel great. The third thing I've learned is to check every section, not every row, but every section, if you're doing a pattern, since it's really hard to go back after a few rows. And most importantly, I've learned how to accept the mistakes that I've made. I'm still trying to unsee the mistake that I made in the body part though. Thank you for watching till the end, I really appreciate it, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye now.